You hear a lot of things about email autoresponders or email marketing or, oh, you need to blast your database. All of these buzzwords about simply sending emails out. You might include text messaging in that as well. They're pretty much the same thing, just different delivery methods. Maybe one is a little bit longer than the other, but I'm going to lay out some things that I think are best practices in sending an email or sending a text. So let's get some terminology straight. First of all, blasting someone is probably something you should never ever do, right? No one likes to be blasted. Even the mentality of I'm going to blast someone, right? No, you're really interested in developing a relationship with them, not blasting them. Oftentimes too, real estate agents, mortgage professionals will look at it and say, well, man, if I just send this out in mass quantity, I'm going to get the responses. And that's not actually the case. You may have this gigantic database list and blast something out and get absolutely no responses, or you may have a very small list, 50, 100, 200 people that you send very targeted messaging to, meaning the right message to the right person, and it just happens to be the right time, and then they respond. So it's very, very important to, number one, understand your database, because it's not the size of your database, it's the relationship that you have with your database. So you also have to understand what their wants are, their needs, because really they could care less about you. The only thing that they're interested in is how you might be able to help them get what it is they want. And so you always have to be thinking about what is it that they want. That is what's most important. So in crafting messaging, you have to think about, well, what are the phases that a potential prospect or client, or maybe it's a suspect before it becomes a prospect and then becomes someone that you are engaged with, and then ultimately a client, and then a closed transaction, and hopefully then they become a raving fan. But you have to understand at what stage they are interacting with you. And the first stage potentially is just awareness. They're not even aware of you. So how do you start generating and developing a relationship with someone that doesn't even know you? Well, you do it in a way that demonstrates some aspects of trust, right? You have to demonstrate your competence. You have to demonstrate some type of commonality, some way to be able to communicate in an effective, kind of cool way without saying, hey, here's a bunch of stuff about me, enough about me, what do you think about me, right? Oh, you see these emails all the time making case for them. We did this and we've got these products, and oh my goodness, I'm the very best listing person or the very best buyer. Well, who cares? All they are interested in is their particular needs and getting their particular needs met. So how, as a mortgage professional, real estate professional, do you do that? Well, again, like I had said, understand your database before you send any messaging out. The other thing, which I think is highly, highly effective, and this is actually a tip from Dean Jackson, who is an absolutely amazing marketer in the real estate and the mortgage space. I have a huge amount of respect for Dean and what he's done. He is a proponent of what he calls a 9-word email. It's unbelievably effective. You may think that you have to write these paragraphs and paragraphs of emails. Don't do it. Come up with a 9-word email. And it's just simply like, well, are you still looking for a house in whatever area? You know, are you still interested in refinancing? Are you still interested in selling? Are you still interested in purchasing a home? Are you still looking for a home, right? 9 words, that's it. Because all you're interested in is a response. A response is the beginning of a two-way active conversation, and that's it. And you want to take that conversation offline as quickly as you can, because people at the end of the day still do business together. They do it belly to belly, talking with each other, understanding those needs. Now, communication methods may have changed. I mean, from being on the phone, maybe a lot more text messaging, maybe more email, but at the end of the day, it is having that active two-way conversation and building a trusting relationship with another person, because that's ultimately then how you're going to build your referral business as well. So email marketing, think of it not as I got to develop these gigantic campaigns that nurture people. You just simply have to look at how can I send appropriate messaging, just short blurbs of messaging that move them along the development line until you've earned the right to have an active two-way conversation. So your first awareness emails are just simply maybe some background information, some commonality information. Then you look at the awareness phase, then it becomes the ascension phase. And the ascension phase is where they just get to know you a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Think about it in terms of dating. When you just meet someone, wherever you may have met them, you are not going to say, well, hey, I've talked with you for 5 minutes, hey, do you want to, go travel together? Whatever that may be, it's just not appropriate. That level of commitment is not appropriate. But the level of commitment may be, wow, you know what, I really enjoyed our conversation. You want to grab coffee sometime? And then after you have coffee, it's, hey, I really enjoyed our time having coffee. You want to go have dinner, or you want to have lunch, and then after you have lunch, maybe it's dinner. But again, this is the natural progression of a relationship. That's the ascension phase. And so ask yourself, what is the natural progression of a relationship? And you would craft emails and timing that was appropriate to building that relationship. And then finally, after you have them ascended, ultimately then you've earned the right to have an active two-way conversation where you can really get into the solutions phase. You want to provide benefit to them, value to them that is equally matched to what it is that they're looking for. So that's one of the best ways that you can use email marketing. Use your 9-word email. Think about your perfect client, how they want to be talked to, and then your first, your second, your third email, what that timing would look like, and then ultimately what the call to action is. And that's a big mistake that I see many people make is, number one, they're blasting things out, completely ridiculous. Really, less is more, not only in your email copy, but also in the way that you're managing your list or you're breaking your list down, but also a lack of call to action. Something to the effect of, hey, would you like to join me? Or would you like to, whatever that would be. And then it's just, hey, give me a call. Or, send me a quick mail back or shoot me a text, right? All of those are natural call to actions. So you have to let people know what that next step is, what they should do now. And those call to actions are appropriate as you start getting into that ascension phase. So hopefully that helped you a little bit understand a little bit more about email marketing. There's just so much that you can learn, different systems, how to send things out. Some of that can actually be completely overwhelming, so don't let it overwhelm you. Realize that all those are just different systems that have different bells and whistles, but at the end of the day, it's just a way to send out an email or send out a text, but what's most important is your messaging and how you are moving someone through a relationship. So if you're interested in getting more information about email marketing or other types of advertising modalities, I own an advertising agency that specifically works with real estate and mortgage professionals who've been doing it for over a decade. So we've gotten really, really good at communicating with potential high-quality buyer and sellers. I help coach many real estate professionals and mortgage professionals on how to just adjust the things that they're doing internally, or maybe I recommend other outside suppliers that they can use. And then once in a while, I have a client that actually will match what we do. We typically will only work with clients that are interested in really building a business that they love. Maybe we have an opportunity to have a conversation about that. But either way, would love to be able to provide a bit of value for you to be able to examine what you're doing currently in your marketing. But either way, I hope that this information helped you specifically about how you can improve your own email marketing.